We'd like to get started. Good morning, staff, parents, guardians, caregivers, community members. My name is Kyron Harvell, and I'm the project director of the STAR grant. The acronym STAR stands for Student Transformation Accelerates Results. We would like to welcome you to our Parent University's first class session titled Google Classroom 101. Parent University is a new initiative provided through the STAR grant. The major goal of Parent University is to build partnerships with parents and develop mutual responsibility for the success of our children. Research shows that students of parents who work collaboratively with schools see higher test scores, higher grades, have better social skills, and adapt well to school. So how did we get here? The Lansing School District sees parents as key stakeholders towards the overall success of our students, and we need your support, ideas, and recommendations. We want to ensure that you see us as allies working to provide the best educational opportunities for your child, as well as a positive overall school culture and climate. Where are we going? We will host a series of parenting classes beginning in September on a bi-weekly basis from 5 to 6:30 on select Tuesday nights during the first semester and select Wednesday nights during the second semester of school. These series will provide you on screen-to-screen learning opportunities with the hosts of coming together face-to-face pending any eases and restrictions as it relates to COVID. The goals of these classes are to provide parents with strategies to enhance relationship with their children, gain access to community resources, ask questions, and have a voice in decisions related to their child's social, emotional, and academic achievement. More information, I will provide the link for you in the chat. I'll begin by introducing our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Delsa Chapman, as well as our Executive Director of School Culture and Climate, Ms. Cordelia Black. Dr. Chapman, would you have any words you'd like to share?
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Harvell. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Just so glad to be a part of the unveiling or the launch of Parent University. This has been a vision of mine for while I was the director of magnet programs and the director of high schools. Parent University comes out of Boston Public Schools, and they use this program in particular to literally transform their entire school district as it relates to parent, community, and student engagement. I'm very proud through the oversight by Ms. Black, the Executive Director of School Culture, that we now are one of the few districts in the nation that are executing a very viable parent university. I believe that as we move through this launch and the course offerings and sessions that we are offering will be a benefit here with you all this morning. And I too, thanks, Mr. Harvell. I appreciate being invited to be here.
Thank you very much, Deputy Superintendent Dr. Chapman. Executive Director of Office of School Culture, Mrs. Black, do you have any words you'd like to share with our audience?
I just want to say thank you and welcome to our parents. I am looking very forward to this program. I think that Dr. Chapman wrapped it up and summarized it very well, so I won't mimic and waste time there. I would just like to say again, thank you, Mr. Harvell and your team for putting this all together. And we look forward to continued collaboration with our parents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I indicated in the chat, parents, you have the opportunity to enter your questions in the Q&A box as well as in the chat. We will begin taking questions that you have at 11 o'clock. I'll be jotting down some of those questions. I know chat's going to be moving along pretty fast, and we'll make sure that you have your questions answered. Next, we will introduce Kurt Barnum, who's the Improvement and Innovation Specialist for the Lansing School District, and he will discuss parent view and student view. Mr. Barnum.
Thank you, Mr. Harvell. Good morning, parents. We are going to talk about Parent View, which is our online system for parents to be able to monitor their children's educational background while they're in school. So we're going to talk about Parent View. So accessing Parent View and Student View. You can access it by going to the Lansing School District website. There is a link at the very top of the page for Parent View / Student View, or through the Parents menu. You can also direct navigate to the site at lansingschools.net/Parent View / Student View. Once you're on that page, you can select whether you're a parent or a student, because students have access to see the exact same information that you do as a parent, and you will create a username and password. We are working on a process to provide all parents with their activation code for their accounts at their school supply pickup time. You can also obtain this information by contacting your child's school. Once in the system, parents have access to all their enrolled students in one location. They can choose up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen which student they are looking at. It gives a basic information on both students, and down the left-hand side of the screen are there multiple options for parents to look at the student's information. We're going to go through a couple items that are in the system. So new this year, which we're really excited about, is the ability for parents to report absences to us. So with us going online, we wanted to be able to communicate as well as possible with parents. So parents can now click on the report absence, tell us the dates the student will be gone, the reason they will be gone. They'll also be able to provide us with doctor's notes if they have them. Those will upload right directly into our student system. The system has a messaging component where teachers can send messages directly to parents and students. Parents can go in and reply to those messages. Teachers can send those any time of the day, and parents can reply. It's just like an inbox inside Parent View. The calendar ties into our grade book that teachers use. So teachers, when they put in assignments, assessments, when we put our class schedules out, all of that is available through the calendar. Students can go in and locate assignments based on the assignment type. They can also go out and look for school events, and they can filter by the assignment types and by classes. So if they have multiple classes, they can choose which class they want to look at. The attendance section of the screen allows parents to view absences. You'll notice this student is absent on the 8th, 9th, and 10th by the X's. They can also see when students are out for school activities or when they're not scheduled. Again, from this screen, parents can report absences to us. The student's class schedule is available. They can view the student's schedule, the time of day where they're supposed to be, so parents always know what hour the student's supposed to be in. They can also view it by date or term, and they can chat or email the teacher directly by clicking on the chat or email icons right next to the teacher's name. The course history is basically the student's transcript on the screen. They can view by the grad requirements that are out there for the student. They can show what percentage of grad requirement that student has met. So you'll see my example on the screen. The student is at 25% of their electives. Hovering over these inside the system will tell you what electives they've met and how many they have left to go. Discipline, we allow parents to view discipline activity that's happened in the school. They can monitor their students' discipline by date and time of the incidents. They'll also be notified by email if a discipline event happens. They can view students' role in the incident as well on the screen, whether they were at fault or a bystander. The student's grade book is available directly in here, so parents can view the student's assignments. They can monitor any missing assignments, assignments that have been turned in and graded. There is also a student growth chart on the right-hand side showing growth by that period. They can also chat or email with the teacher directly from the screen by using those icons. Other items available in the system are school information, so you can find emails, phone numbers, or websites for other teachers or other staff in the building. You can access report cards, and you can also see the student information and emergency contact information that we have on file for your student in our student system. Again, for your account activation, you can contact your child's school office. We will provide this with your school supplies at the beginning of the school year, or you can contact our central enrollment office, the PACE office, for more information. I believe I'm going to hand it over now to Allison Hanson, who is going to talk about Google Classroom. Allison?
Ms. Hanson, you're currently muted.
Okay, I'm just checking to make sure I have mouse privileges, but if I push page down, it won't go.
Are you all set?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I don't have mouse privileges though.
Try clicking, Allison.
I do.
For the time being, Ms. Hanson, you can just say next and Kurt will control for you, okay?
Perfect.
Thank
Okay,
you.
welcome parents, guardians, caregivers. I'm Mrs. Hanson. This is my 16th year in the district. I am currently a 5th grade teacher at Pattongill Biotechnical Magnet School. And I am here today. I'm going to be doing about a 20 to 30 minute presentation for you guys on the Google Classroom application as well as the Google Suite. And I just wanted to thank you for being here today. Next. All right, so to begin with, I wanted to talk to you guys about what Google Classroom is. Google Classroom is going to be our virtual classroom for our screen-to-screen learning this year. For those of you that are not aware yet, the Lansing School District is going to be 100% screen-to-screen learning. And so all students will be at their houses or location that they will be at, and the teachers will be doing live teaching. The students will be using Google Classroom to log in to meet with the teachers through Google Meet, and they will also be accessing their assignments on Google Classroom. Google Classroom is going to be the central location where the teachers are going to be sharing the assignments, resources, and videos. Students will access the assignments, resources, and videos there, and then they will also turn their assignments in using Google Classroom. And Google Classroom is also going to be a communication tool where if students have questions as they're working through the work, they will be able to contact their teacher, and then the teacher will also be able to contact the students back. Next. A big important point in the past when we were doing the remote learning March through June, a lot of parents were coming and saying that they could not get their student in their Google Classroom account. And many parents were trying to log in with their own personal Gmail account, or students were trying to log in with their own personal Gmail account. Each student in the district K-12 is going to have their own Google account. As Kurt said, the information for the student Google accounts will be given to the parents at the drop-off for the technology and when they pick up their school supplies at the beginning of the school year. All students will need to use that Gmail account in order to log on to Google Classroom and have access to meeting with teachers on a daily basis. Google Chrome is going to be the recommended browser for the interaction with the Google Classroom, and as well as using any of the applications in the Google Suite, which we will talk about later on. There have been some glitches for families that have been using Firefox and Edge. They're not able to get in, so we really recommend that all parents and guardians, students use Google Chrome. Next. If you have a piece of paper and a pencil and you are able to write this slide down, this slide is very important for people that don't have the login for your child, you're new to the district, or you don't know your student's ID number. Again, that will be coming in the fall. But if you are wanting to know what your student's Gmail address and password would be, this slide gives an example of a student named John Smith. And in order for John Smith to log on to the G Suite, Google Suite, or Google Classroom, he would use his first initial, last initial, and then his student number at stu.lansingschools.net. Some students in the lower grades, if they hear student number, they might be a little bit confused. They sometimes use their lunch code or their lunch number that they type in when they go to lunch. So if you tell students, what's your lunch number, they may know that 6-digit number if you say it that way. So John Smith, his student number is 123456. So his login on the screen you can see is JS123456 at stu.lansingschools.net. His password then is going to be his first initial and his last initial, and then his month and day of his birthday. If your birthday is February, March, and you have a 3, then you're going to need to put in 03 for the month. So John Smith's birthday is August 7th. So he is going to be JS0807. And this will be, in the past, different students have had different passwords based on grade level. Some teachers have changed them. This is going to be the standard K-12. So all students will be using this information. Again, if students try to log in, or if parents try to help students logging in with a Gmail account, you're going to get all kinds of error messages, and it's just not going to work. On the bottom right-hand corner, you can see a little image where it says sign into your Chromebook. Students in grades 3 through 12 are going to be getting Chromebooks, and when they first open up their Chromebook, they're going to see this screen where it says sign into your Chromebook. Once students get that screen, they are going to be putting in their username and password, as you see on the screen. And once they put in their username and password, they are signed into the G Suite. So they are already signed in for their Google Classroom and to their Google accounts. So for the next step, when we talk about signing in, they won't have to do that part because they are already logged in when they log into their Chromebook. Next. All right, so the next section we are going to talk about is how to get your student logged in. Again, if students are using Chromebooks that are provided by the school in grades 3 through 12, they will already be logged in. If they're using a personal device at home or a different computer, they're going to want to follow these steps. So the first step that students are going to do to log on to Google Classroom is they are going to get to the Google Chrome web browser. And again, please have your students use Google Chrome. You can download it for free, and try to avoid the Mozilla or the Microsoft Edge. The second step is that students are going to go to www.classroom.google.com. And if you have that pencil and paper and you want to write that website down, that would be wonderful. Again, there will be information coming home soon. If students go to classroom.google.com, they are going to, if you have a Chromebook, see their waffle, which is the red arrow pointing to the boxes right there. That is the waffle because it looks like a waffle. And so if they have a Chromebook, they will already be logged in. If students don't have a Chromebook, we'll go over that on the next slide. So up in the right-hand corner, you will sometimes see a blue button that says sign in. You can click that sometimes on your screen, depending on the device you're using. You're just going to see the screen right here that says Google sign in and enter your email account. This is the place where students will be logging in using their Lansing School District email and password. So that will be for John Smith at js123456@stu.lansingschools.net. Once students put in their username, it will then ask them to put in their password, and that's where John Smith is going to put in his JS0807. Once he has put that in, he will open up to a screen that looks similar to the picture on the bottom left of your screen. It will open up to the Google search bar, and then you will know that your student is logged in because you will see two things in the top right corner. The first thing that you will see is a circle with their first initial of their name. So here you see a T because the student's name started with a T. Some of the students in grades 6 through 12 have changed, they figured out how to change their letter to an image, and so they may see a little image here. The second indicator that lets you know that you are logged into Google Classroom is the little waffle. And again, the waffle are the 9 squares that are in the top right corner that you see highlighted in yellow. When you click on the waffle, it is going to open up all of the Google Suite. Sometimes you will hear that as the G Suite. You will have all of the different applications that students may be using this year in the waffle. So if you look at the picture on the top right of your screen, it says Google Icons to Recognize. There are a lot of icons. Some of these may not be used by your teacher. A lot of them will be used. Google Chrome obviously will be used because that is what you have used to log into your Google account. Google Drive, skipping past the Google Docs for a moment, Google Drive is the place where all of students' assignments and files will be kept. And then the Google Docs is very similar to Microsoft Word. It is where students can word process or type up documents. And all of the documents are web-based, which means all of the documents will be saved on the internet. Google Slides is a presentation software, and that is similar to Microsoft PowerPoint. Teachers will be able to share presentations with students to watch, and students will be able to work on presentations to turn in of their own. And one of the neat things is that they can collaborate because it is a web-based program. There are also a lot of other apps here. We will talk about these in a little bit more detail after we finish talking about Google Classroom. So the fifth step in getting your child logged in, we know that we have already put in their email address, they have put in their password, and they have located the waffle in the top right-hand corner. Once they have clicked on the waffle, one of the different applications that they will see is a little icon that is a chalkboard with people on it, and below it they will see the word classroom. Your child may not see it in the second row down on the left-hand side, because if you push down your mouse, you can move these around and organize these in the order that you want them to be. So you may have to push the bar right here on the right-hand side and scroll down until you find it. But then you will click on the Google Classroom icon to enter into your child's Google Classroom. All right, so how do we join classes in Google Classroom? This part is going to be a little bit tricky, mostly for the 7th through 12th graders, because they are going to have multiple classes. In 7th grade, they're going to have a math class, they're going to have an English class, they're going to have a science class. So we want to walk you through the steps on how to get your students joined in every single one of the classes that they will be in this school year. So the first thing that students are going to do in order to join their classes is up on the screen, we see an E here for the student's first name, starting with an E. We see the waffle, and next to the waffle there is going to be a little plus sign. And in order for students to join into their Google Classroom or classrooms for the fall, they're going to click on the plus sign in the top right-hand corner. When they click on the plus sign, they will have a bar that opens up that says Join Class. Once students then click on the word Join Class, it is going to say, ask your teacher for the class code, then enter it here. The district is working on getting students all in their classes, getting pushed into their classes, so that some students may bypass this step, but teachers will have class codes for the students, and that information is going to be available with your students on pickup day with their email address for the district. So we will get your class codes for students, and we are also working on pushing the students into the classes for the first day of school. Once they have put in their class code for each of the classes that they are in, they'll put in one class code and click join. Then they'll go back to the Google page, they'll click the plus arrow, they'll join their next class, they'll put in their class code. And for the kindergarten through, let's say, around 6th grade-ish kids, they will only need to just put in one class because they have one teacher. It will just be for the students that have multiple teachers that will have to enter in multiple class codes. All right, so once they have put in their class codes, they are going to see their classes on the screen. So this student right here has Algebra 2 with Mr. or Mrs. Ballinger, and there are 25 students in that class. He also has Geometry B with Mr. or Mrs. Ballinger with 11 students in the class. There also may be other classrooms present if the district has pushed your child into a classroom. So if they see other classrooms, then don't be alarmed. It's just the district on their end pushing the students in. Once students want to enter their classroom, they will just simply click on either Geometry B or click on Algebra 2 anywhere in that area, and that will enter them into their Google Classroom. This picture right here on the right-hand side, this is before students enter into the Google Classroom, and it just shows you a screenshot of what all of these buttons and symbols are. So up here on the top left, you see the Google Classroom menu where they can click there. If students want to create or join a class, which we just talked about, there is the plus arrow in the, or plus symbol in the top right corner. You see the Google Apps or the waffle next to the plus symbol. You see the student's initial on the top right. That is where the class settings are, where students are able to change their image or whatever they want to do in there. On the right-hand side of the class, it says class options with 3 little dots. This is where students can remove themselves from their class. So if you are a parent working with a child or a caregiver, if you can talk to them about the importance of not pushing that to keep things as smooth as possible for the school year, that would be wonderful. You see the arrow that says class, that just lists the name of the class, the teacher's name, as well as how many students. Down here, it says class gradebook in the little zigzag arrow. If students want to see a quick copy of their grade and how they're progressing in that class, they can click on that arrow and it will take them right to the class gradebook. And then the last folder right here, or last image right there, is the class folder. And all teachers will be recording their Google Meet sessions when they go live each day, in case a student has a doctor's appointment or can't make it to the class that day for the face-to-face instruction. And all of the files, or all of the Meet videos will be stored in the class files folder. And so if students are absent, they can just click right on that folder. Teachers will name them by date so that students are easily able to find the Meet link that they are looking for to watch that video. At the very bottom, there is a help and feedback. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that that help and feedback question mark circle, that goes to Google. That does not go to the Lansing School District. So if you are sending a question and you're wanting your child's teacher or someone in technology to help you, you will need to make sure that you contact the school, or on the Lansing School District, there is a Let's Talk button where you can send an email, and that will get to the district so that we can help you. But the question mark at the bottom will go straight to Google. Next. All right, so now we are in your child's Google Classroom. I know that that took a while, so thank you for your patience for getting here. When you enter your child's classroom, you will see 3 different pages. The first page up here on the top left is going to be your child's stream. And we're not showing that today because all children's stream are going to look a little bit different. You can think of the child's stream page as kind of like a Facebook wall. Teachers can post little bits of information like, welcome students, we're excited to have you here. And they can post daily announcements on the stream. Some teachers will invite students to be allowed to post there as well. And some teachers will allow students to be able to comment. So there's different settings that teachers can set for their stream, but the stream will basically be a little chat wall that teachers and students can use to communicate. The second window or tab in the student's Google Classroom is going to be their classwork tab. And this tab is the one that you're going to really want to familiarize yourself with, because the classwork tab is where all of the students are going to be accessing their classwork. The easiest way to access your child's classwork is going to be to go to the icon that says View Your Work. And over at the View Your Work tab is where you are going to see the work of your student. And we'll talk about that in the next slide, but I just wanted to show you some more pieces of this classwork page. Over on the right-hand side, you see the Google Calendar. Anytime that a teacher puts an assignment in, it will show up on the Google Calendar for your child's classroom. So if you prefer to see things in a calendar view and would like to screenshot it on your phone to keep track of what assignments students have to turn in, you'll be able to click right here on the Google Calendar icon and see a list of your students' assignments as well as what day they are due. Next to the Google Calendar, you will see the Class Drive folder. And again, the Class Drive folder is that folder that we talked about on the previous screen, where teachers will be recording their Google Meets, and all of their Google Meet videos will appear in this Class Drive folder. So let's go on to the next slide and look at how the work will look when you click on the View Your Work button. So when students click on their View Their Work button, they are going to see, first of all, on the left-hand side, the title of the assignment. So this student has assigned, the teacher, it looks like they've assigned them by number 5, 4, 2, and 1. Not sure where number 3 went. But job preparedness, could you assign this to your students? What lessons look interesting? Why would you use applied digital skills? Are the assignments that the students have been assigned. In the column to the right is the due date so that students know what date they need to do the assignment. And then over on the right-hand side, it lists the status of the assignment. So the assignment number 5 has been assigned, but the student has not yet turned it in. Assignment 4 shows up missing because the due date has passed and the student has not turned it in. Assignment number 2 has been turned in, but the teacher has put a little note that it was turned in late. So parents are really going to want to, especially for the younger children, help them by checking in on this View Your Work tab and just kind of keeping tabs to see where they're at and if they're getting their work turned in. Okay, next slide. When students turn in their work, on the previous side it said turned in. If students clicked on that turned in, the students will be able to see the teacher feedback as well as their grades on the assignments. On the screen you're seeing, depending on the type of the quiz, students will see their scores instantly. Some assignments that students will be assigning will be multiple choice questionnaires or quizzes or tests. It is these type of assignments that they may see their scores instantly. Other assignments are essay or short answer, which require teachers to grade the assignment, so students will not see their score instantly. When they click on that view your work or view your score, they can immediately see their score in the top right-hand corner. They can also click on the red link that has the name of the quiz, and they can go in and they can see what answers they got wrong as well as what the correct answer was, and just kind of check their work and see why they got wrong what they had gotten wrong. You can also see right here with the green link that it says return, so that students know that in fact this is going to be, this is an assignment that has been returned. And then Andy Wolber over here on the right-hand side, it shows all of his detailed work as well as what his grades were on some of the assignments. And based on his assigned work, he is sitting at an 80% in his class. I'm not sure what class this is, but in whatever class it is. Next. All right, so that was just a quick overview of Google Classroom, and we know that there are a lot of questions coming up in the question and answer box. So in about 5 or 10 minutes, I will be done with this portion, and then we will get to the question and answers. The last thing I want to talk about is some of the applications that your students will be using this year. We just introduced you to the Google Classroom, which is where students will sign in and get their assignments. But they are also going to be using a lot of different applications that they will need to know how to use. The first one is Google Meet. Google Meet is very important because this is the application that students will be using every single day when they meet with their teacher. Back on the Google Classroom page, there were the 3 different tabs, and the first one was the Stream tab. On the Stream tab, you are going to see your child's link always on the top left of the Stream tab, and it will just look just like this. You'll see your child's class code up here where it says test on the picture on your screen. It's going to say something like Mr. Stewart 4th grade classroom, and then you will see the class code, and then you will see the Meet link. Students will simply click on that Meet link from the Stream tab, and that will take them right to their Google Meet with their teacher for the day. Once students click on that Google Meet link, they will see a screen similar to the picture on the right-hand side, and it will say Join Now. Students may click on the Join Now button and wonder why they can't get in, and that is because the Google Meet does not start until the teacher joins the class for security purposes. So if students click on Join Now and it's not letting them in, just have them be patient for a few minutes. And then once they click on the Join Now button and the teacher has been there, they will open up the Google Meet, they will see their teacher, they will see their face on the screen, and they will be able to do their virtual learning with their teacher. Another application that many teachers are going to be using this year is Google Slides. I briefly mentioned it earlier. Google Slides is going to be found in the waffle, which is in the top right-hand corner of Google. It is right here. It is the yellow icon that says Slides. It is the presentation app. So this is how students are going to be sharing their work in a visual way. They will be able to create presentations with their peers. They will be able to edit presentations. They can create them on their own. Teachers will be able to share presentations. And so in order for students to be able to begin working on Google Slides, they are going to first click on the Google Slides icon, and then they will click over to the blank document. Once they have opened up the blank document, they can make their presentation based on the criteria that the teacher has given for the assignment. And once they complete their Google Slides presentation, they will click over here in the top right corner next to their circle with their initial. They will click on the share button. And the share button will ask them to enter their teacher's email address, which they will have, the teacher will have given it to them. And the students will be able to share their Google Slides presentation with their teacher. Many teachers will also be using Google Docs. Google Docs is a word processing program. It is very similar to Microsoft Word, and students will be able to type essays, stories, responses to questions the teacher might be asking. Again, students can collaborate in Google Docs, and all of the information in Google Docs will be stored because it is a web-based program. So it will be stored on the internet. Students don't need to save. It will save automatically. In order for students to create a Google Doc, just like in the Google Slides before, they're just going to click on the plus arrow for the new document. They'll type up their document, and then instead of having a yellow or orangish color share button, they're going to have a blue one to match the blue icon for the Google Docs. They'll click on the share button, and then they will be able to share their work with their teacher. We want you to know that the Google Suite programs will be able to be accessed anywhere. Students will be able to work on them on a desktop. They will be able to work on them on a Chromebook. From a teacher perspective, I would highly encourage you, if you only have an Android or iPhone at home, we're going to be having them doing a lot of typing work that might be hard to do on a small screen. So on the Lansing School District website, we have just announced the pickup dates for the technology. If your student only has a phone, I would highly encourage you to head to the pickup dates to either pick up their Chromebook if they're 3 through 12, or their tablet if they are K through 12. So they are able to be accessed anywhere, but it's really going to be important that they have a device that is going to be heavy duty to get them through this remote learning through November. So that is an introduction to Google Classroom, as well as some of the Google Suite applications that we are going to be using this year. We are going to go to the Q&A at this point, and I wanted to thank everybody again that came for the presentation. We really appreciate your support. I know that it can be overwhelming. We're all in the same boat. We're going to be here to help each other out. And so thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hanson, for that wonderful presentation, that overview. We are greatly appreciative of your efforts.